everyone, welcome to my channel. So I thought I'd do something a bit different. I'm currently based in New Zealand, but I'm originally from the UK, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to do things to do in Auckland, New Zealand, just some other kind of videos around New Zealand as well while I'm here. If you're not familiar with the channel, so I'm originally from the UK, but I've been living in Auckland for about 6 or 7 years. It's also an island like the UK, surrounded by water, obviously quite far away, but I just thought it'd be kind of a bit different. And maybe if anyone's looking to come on holiday to New Zealand or relocate, these kind of videos might be quite useful just to get a bit of context and a bit more knowledge around the locations. So this video will be things to do in Auckland, New Zealand. So when you're in Auckland, it's really easy to get around when you're in the CBD. You can kind of walk everywhere really. And the CBD is the central business district, so the kind of the heart of the city. I would say if you do come to Auckland, we have loads of little islands around as well. So we do have like a ferry terminal that can take you to various islands. And one of the main islands that a lot of people do go to is called Wahiki Island. And it's about a 45 minute ferry ride from the Auckland ferry terminal over to Wahiki Island. When you're there, it's renowned for kind of vineyards, wineries. If you're really into, I mean, I don't drink alcohol, but if you're really into wines and drinking New Zealand wines, I think it'd be a great place to go. It's lovely for the summertime, loads of restaurants, lovely beaches. If I've got any images, I'll put them on screen. And it's just super near to get to. We have a lot of people that work in the CBD of Auckland, but actually live in Wahiki. So it's an easy commuter kind of access into the city. There are a few other islands as well. I think there's one called Rangitoto, which I've not been to yet. And then there's also, I think it's Rotorua Island and Matatupu, I think it is Island. Again, all in easy access. From the ferry terminal in Auckland. That's usually quite a popular thing, even if you come to Auckland for the day. You could easily do Wahiki, which is handy. A couple of the things you could do, and if you've got children, there's also the Sea Life Aquarium. Again, that's in the CBD, and they do there are kind of offers, and for children and adults. And also, I think as well they still do experiences. And I think when I went quite a number of years ago. But I think they still do these experience sessions where you have like a half an hour, and you can kind of go in the enclosure with like maybe penguins and stuff. It's quite obviously controlled and obviously a bit chilly. But if I've got any information, I'll put it in the description bar below. But that's kind of cool for the kids. I don't have children myself, but if you do come to New Zealand and Auckland with children, I would say there's quite a lot of parks, trails, gorgeous beaches, East and West Coast beaches, which are stunning, really lovely. I would say the East Coast beaches are a bit calmer if you're not the best of swimming. Really beautiful compared to the places I've lived around the world. Really, really nice. Also, if you or children are really interested in rugby, you may or may not know, but New Zealand are quite well known for the All Blacks rugby team. And Mount Eden Stadium is a short drive away from Auckland CBD, and that's where All Blacks play. So you could come along and see a match depending on what time of the year you come. Also as well, within the city, you can also book and pay to have like an All Blacks experience, which is based in the Sky Tower. Now, if you're not familiar with Auckland, within the centre of Auckland, there's this massive kind of Sky Tower that you can actually jump off of it. You can pay and kind of, it's a bit like a bungee jump, but kind of controlled. I've never done it. I'm not a big fan of heights personally, but I know friends that have done it and love it. And you can basically book a session and you get strapped to it and it kind of drops you down. Again, quite high, be great in the summer, lovely views. Also in the top of the Sky Tower, there's like restaurants and other things to do up there. So that could be something to do that would be fun. I've had dinner reservations up there, which is gorgeous views at night. And also you can just kind of pay to go in the Sky Tower. I would say one thing as well, if you do want to do that, I think they still do it. When it's your birthday, you can get free admission to go in the Sky Tower. So if you've got proof, maybe your passport or your driving licence or something like that with your date of birth to prove that it's your birthday, you will get free admittance, which is kind of cool. And a few places do that as well around the CBD. So a few other things as well within Auckland. We have this gorgeous Auckland Domain in the centre, very big park. Again, if I've got images, I'll put them on the screen. And around the base of the park of the Domain is the Auckland Museum. and this lights up in the evenings. They also have evening, I think it's on Tuesdays, they do like late night kind of tours and walks around the museum, which is kind of cool, but really fun. And the Auckland Museum as well, if you are a resident and you can prove that you live in New Zealand, you get free entry, whereas if you're a tourist, you do have to pay. I'm not quite sure what the going rate is at the moment for the admission, but again, I'll put the details in the description bar below. Another thing as well you can do, there's various art galleries in the city. There's Auckland Art Gallery, which is the main one, and that's easily accessible, lots of parking around and really handy. And I'm not sure if they also do for residents to get free entry. They may do, I know a lot of places do that. So it's always handy to have kind of your proof of ID with your age on, because you never know. Then there's also, you may not know with New Zealand, it's based on I think 52 or 53 volcanoes, which is the majority of the land. So it's quite hilly, quite scenic, kind of rugged landscape. We do kind of have inactive volcanoes, and there's one in Mount Eden, which again, if I've got pictures I'll put on screen, which you can hike up. Really nice views of the kind of surrounding area, like the landscape of Auckland, which is really lovely, and that's right in the centre as well. Then you could do things like around the Domain, they've recently reopened the Winter Gardens, which is a bit like a big greenhouse full of amazing, gorgeous flowers. Really nice if you want to just relax, read a book. It's quite large as well. And again, you don't have to pay, you just walk in. It's a public space, but really pretty, and kind of all year round, because it's kind of a greenhouse. You get all different types of kind of greenery and florals, which is lovely. I find it quite relaxing. Also within Auckland, you can go to a zoo. So you've got Auckland Zoo, which is a bit of a drive out of the city centre, but not very far. I can't recall the admittance, but I think it's cheaper to buy tickets for the zoo online, like in advance, as opposed to going on the day. I think as well for children, you can also have like various activities and book to interact with some of the animals and insects and bugs and things. But that's kind of a fun thing to do for the day. With regards to the beaches in Auckland in particular, East Coast is generally calmer waters. The West Coast, more rugged, more kind of intense landscapes, but the sea is a lot more ferocious. And again, if I've got any images or footage, one of the West Coast beaches is called Piha. So it's got dark volcanic black sand. And then on the East Coast, you've got various other beaches like Mission Bay, which is quite child friendly, lots of kind of play areas, activities and stuff, and it's a lot calmer. Both areas, there's various shops and places you can get food, but again, depending on what you're interested in and whether you're interested in surfing and stuff, it's just really stunning. And there's various other beaches as well. They're just a couple I've suggested, which I've been to, and depending on what you wanted to do. I would say Piha, if you go on the West Coast, it's a bit of a drive, not too far, but you would need a car. And when you get to Piha, there's a couple of huts for food, whereas it's quite kind of in the middle of nowhere, whereas places like Mission Bay, you're usually somewhere near a main road, lots of restaurants, lots of places, easily to go to the toilet, things like that. So it's a bit more populated and possibly a bit more touristy in some ways. But depending on what you wanted to do, in regards to kind of if you're going out and about, you do have quite a variety of like farmers markets, local produce. There's a lot of setup with people trying to support local farmers. I mean, usually Saturdays and Sundays, and sometimes in the week you have like an evening night market, which is fun, but good fun. So there's other areas as well within Auckland. One place is called Devonport, which you can get a ferry to, but also you can drive. Now with Auckland, there's something called the Harbour Bridge. That takes you from the centre of Auckland over to what we call the North Shore. It's quite a small bridge, it's quite pretty. It lights up in the evenings if you're interested in that. I wanted to check it out. It's quite a nice view. And Devonport's got its own beach, which I think is called Cheltenham Beach, I think, from memory. Really pretty area. There's like a maritime museum. There's a, you can kind of climb up a old volcano. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. And again, if you're new to the channel, if you wanted to click the subscription button below, that would be great. And if you like the video and you want to get notified when my other videos get uploaded, I generally try and upload on Mondays. So click the notification bell and that will let you know when I'm uploading. But thanks a lot for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.